Right, so I've made a video on how to steer a four-wheel drive and a road car and a race car. Here is how to recover from a skid, and this is not an intentional skid. This is a little bit of oversteer recovery here. I'm going to play the video at full speed, and I'm going to talk through what happened, why the skid happened, and the recovery thereafter. So this is a Hyundai i30N. All of the stability control and electronics have been disabled because fortunately Hyundai do actually allow you to do that, which is fantastic. So let's get into it and let's have a look and see what's going to happen. So it's at Wakefield. We are in third gear flat out, and we're approaching, I don't know, whatever turn number it is, 4 or 5 or something like that. The double right hander, almost kind of one corner at the top of the hill there. So this is what happens.
Might as well use all the track. Hopefully get past.
Okay, so first thing that you can see there is that the back end of the car has come out. Now, why is that the case? Well, a couple of reasons for that. We're going from a left hand to a right hand curve, so naturally the back end's going to come out, and also de-accelerating. So we've got a weight shift over the front wheels there. So naturally the vehicle is going to be a little bit taily from that point of view. However, there's something more important. Take a look at the two screenshots here, and what do you notice? You notice that there's a little bit of dust on the bottom right hand screen there, and zoom in a bit, you can see where that is. See that? So there's quite a bit of dust and debris on the side of the track there, and it isn't on the previous lap. So that means that there's less traction. Now, I didn't notice that until too late. Sort of coming into that corner, I thought, oh, yep, there's less traction there. But I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go for it anyway. I bet it won't be that much. Well, turns out I was wrong. That was a lot less traction than well, less traction than I thought it was going to be. I knew it would be less, but it was more or less than I thought, if that makes sense. So that's one. I was also probably slightly further out to the left, although I didn't actually get onto the dirt there. So just a light covering of dust can definitely make a difference. That's the first bit. Okay, so now we're coming into the corner here, and if you're going to do any form of skid recovery, you have to be prepared to do it and know what you're doing and practice before you actually do it. You can't. No, I don't think anyone has ever got into a skid and thought, oh yeah, all those YouTube videos I watched, yeah, that worked really well, here's what I do. So the first thing is you've got to have your hands at 2:45. Now, I covered all of this in my other video on how to steer, but you and you know, there will be other people out there that can put their hands at different locations on the steering wheel and good luck to them. But the way I was taught, and most people are taught, and the way that's the most effective, is to hold the steering wheel at 2:45. Now you can also see that I'm not looking straight ahead, I'm looking to the left, which is where the car's going to go. So continue with that. So we go through there, and then we go over the apex, jog, 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 and then we start to go into the right hand side. Now, this is the point where the vehicle is going to start to get a little bit tail happy, because I'm off the power at this point, so we've got a weight shift to the front, and we're changing direction from the left to the right. And if it goes a little bit taily here, I don't mind that because it helps rotate into the corner, and that's always good, particularly with a front-wheel drive car. So I actually want to promote a little bit of it there, but not quite as much as what's going to happen. So turn in here, and all is good and normal so far. I've got the correct amount of steering lock in, the car's turning in. Look at where my eyes are. They're looking well to the right, so I'm looking in the direction of where I want to go. Okay, now it's at this point here that I can start to feel something going. And you can tell that because look at that, in the next quarter of nanosecond, I can feel the car going, and I've got that steering wheel turned in the what appears to be the opposite direction. Okay, and I'm not sure what fraction of a second that was, but it was pretty quick. That is how fast you have to be if you want to catch a skid. It's like as soon as you feel it, you have to get that lock on there. And the most effective way to do that is to have your hands held at 2:45. Now, here's the thing about skid. You hear about turning into the skid, turning out from the skid. Forget all of that. there's only two things you need to do. One, look where you want to go. You can see that I'm looking in the direction of where I would like the car to go. Two, keep the steering wheel pointed where you want the car to go. Forget that turn into a skid, turn out of a skid, just do those two things. Okay, so the back end's coming around now, and you can see I've now had to get even more lock on, but the car is still rotating. Okay, now at this point, I'm probably going through and thinking, oh yeah, I'm probably going to hold it, yeah. But now you can see the car's rotating further around. Okay, it's really not pointing where it should. So time to grab the rest of the lock on. So I've now got absolutely full lock on that steering wheel, 100% full lock to the left. Now at this point, there's pretty much nothing else you can do because I've come off the accelerator. And what that has meant is tried to restore a bit of grip to the vehicle and not overwhelm the tyres. And I've put absolutely full lock onto the left, which in the i30N isn't a lot. That's maximum right there. Now, in the case of a front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive car, that's all you can do. In a front-wheel drive car, you can also accelerate. Do not try that in a rear-wheel drive car. If you accelerate in this situation, when the vehicle is right on the edge of the limit, you've got full lock and you're sliding, then all you're going to do is spin the car, guaranteed. And that's because the back wheel is behind the centre of gravity, will pivot round. So the driving wheel is behind the centre of gravity, will pivot round. On the other hand, with a front wheel drive car, you can pull it straight. So at this point, I've just got full lock on and I'm going, basically just chucked the bowling ball down the alley and I'm going, please don't let me spin out. And we're just waiting, and you're just waiting. And what I'm waiting for is one of two things. Either the car's going to keep rotating, and at this point it hasn't rotated any further, so I think I'm going to be okay because as the car is sliding, it's also slowing down, and the slower it goes, the more grip you get back. So if it hasn't spun by now, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm probably going to be okay. But if it was continuing to spin or not really slowing down, I'd be going, maybe I'm going to spin, in which case it would be time to absolutely give up and jump on the brakes. And then that way, if you jump on the brakes, you tend to continue your spin in the direction you're heading, and generally that's towards a sand trap. The problem comes, and I'll put another video up about this, when you fail to recover a spin and you don't jam on the brakes and you end up going 90 degrees off to the track, and generally that ends in painful damage against Armco or walls or something like that. Anyway, so we're sliding, just waiting for something to happen here, and I'm pretty sure you can see I'm looking straight ahead here. So the car's moving to the left a bit. I'm looking dead straight ahead. Hopefully that's a fairly cool, calm and collected view in there. And what I'm waiting for the snapback. Now this is one of the most difficult parts of skid recovery. It's difficult enough to initiate, to get the lock on quickly. But when you recover it, the back end snaps back. You've got to be so quick to get that steering lock off and back to centre again. And to my mind, the best way to do that is to use the steering technique I've described in my other video. So there we go, and there we go. So now I can feel the car starting to stop spinning, stop rotating, and that means if I continue with the steering wheels pointed all the way to the left, I'm going to be heading out somewhere to the left. But I actually want to go straight ahead, and that's where I'm looking, but that's not where the steering wheel is pointed, so let's just fix that. And there you go. The steering wheel is now pointed straight ahead, and there's my hand rather sort of mid grasp of the steering wheel. And we're pretty much sorted now. We just got two wheels just off the edge of the tarmac there. So now when that happens, if you do go off the edge of a track, don't panic about getting the car back on. Don't just wrench the steering wheel and bring it back on. Just control the car, get it straight, line it up a bit and ease it back on, because if you try and jump straight back on, then the bouncing, the change of traction, the direction change, the fact you've got dirt all over your tyres, all of that can lead to a secondary skid, and for anyone following you it can lead to disaster as well. So just ease it straight back on. So what I'm doing there is I've got a bit of lock on there. I'm just waiting for the car to slow down a bit, ease it back on, and there we go, it's back on now. And then we can just put And yeah, we're back onto the track, and let's look at the apex. We're a little bit offline now, turned in a little bit early, but anyway, let's get it up, see what we can do, and off we go. So that is a mistake, and that's how to recover from a skid. So have a look at the other video I've made, I'll link to that, and that is how to do steering techniques for pretty much any vehicle, and that's an example of how it works in practice.